Good morning. Darlacansell, real estate agent in South Louisiana with Real Broker. I hope that you are having an amazing day today. Listen, one of the things that I love to do every single morning when I'm preparing for the day and putting on my face is listen to podcasts that are educational, that are motivating, that are uplifting. I was a educator for 20 years before I got into real estate 5.5 years ago, and so I just have always loved learning new things, and I believe that we should just never stop learning, right? I'm hoping to live to be well over 100 years old, and I'm going to be learning something new every single day until my dying day, because I just believe it's important for us as humans to know that there's no way that we will ever know everything there is to know about the world, and just there's so much to learn and so much to be grateful and thankful for. But I was listening to a podcast this morning. Our CEO of our company's name is Sharon Travata, and he is just an absolutely dynamic speaker, educator, motivator, all the things. He's amazing. And I firmly believe in listening to people and hanging around with people who are doing thousands of times better than I could ever dream to do and to be. And this morning, so he said he was going through a bunch of different things that he's learned over the years, and one thing he said was, guilt lies in the past, worry lies in the future, but peace lies in the present. And so the first thing I thought about was, I have two boys that are now 21 and 18. And I do feel guilty when I think about the past. I was the best parent that I believe I could have been at the time, but of course as parents, we always believe that we could have done better. We should have done better. We could have been more perfect, right? If there's such a thing as a perfect parent, which we all know that doesn't exist. But listen, I did plenty of things as my children were growing up that I feel guilty for even today. Thankfully, they have grown into be amazing young men, and they are just great guys, and they're successful. But I remember thinking, what was one of the things that I did when they were growing up that I still kind of feel guilty for a little bit? I mean, it's kind of funny now that I think about it, but back then I was just mad when I did it. And so they were probably around the ages of 8 and 4, and I had bucket seats just like these in the back seat, and they were 8 and 4 years old. And I remember this being after a long work day. I had picked them up from school, and literally after school they'd get in the car, and the minute they got in the car, they were fighting or arguing or griping or moaning or bitching about something. And I just remember saying, stop it. And how many times did I say stop it before I just couldn't take it another second? And I remember I pulled over on the side of the road, and I remember they were about 8 and 4. I pulled over on the side of the road, and I said, get the hell out of this car. Get out, you're walking home. And we were probably about maybe a mile or two from home. And listen, I really had no intentions of ever making them walk home, but at that moment, I couldn't take them another second, and I said, get out the car. They just stopped cold, fighting and arguing, eyes big. Of course, then they start begging to not get out the car. But listen, I'm telling you, I was this close from making them physically get out the car. And of course, I kind of feel guilty about it. It's actually kind of funny now that I think about it, but I would have never really had them walk all the way home, maybe a few feet. Probably would have done them some good, actually. But, so listen, thinking about the past and feeling guilty for the past, there's so many things we know that we regret doing in our past, that we feel guilty for doing, but that is the past, and there is nothing we can do to change it. Now, if we've done something to people that maybe we regret and we probably need to say we're sorry for, I absolutely wholeheartedly believe in apologizing for what we have done wrong to whoever we've done the wrong to, right? Because none of us are perfect. But there's no reason to worry about the future, because lots of different people that you listen to, lots of different people will say 85% of the things that we worry about never come to fruition. They actually never even happen. About 15% of the things that we worry about actually may happen, but more than 85% of the things that we worry about on a daily basis are never going to happen. So planning for the future is the way to make sure that we are not feeling sad or worried or stressed, because we're preparing and we're coming up with a plan. So if you are a buyer, you've heard me say over and over and over again, get pre-approved if you're looking to buy. But y'all, not just that. As humans, especially with the wealth of social media that we are immersed in all the time, we're always, and I'm one of them, I'm guilty of it as charged, we're always seeing everything good that people put on social media, because for the most part, we know social media is used for bragging, right? We brag about our children, we brag about our jobs, we brag about the things that we buy, things that we have, the things that we own, things that we want to buy. But if you are thinking about buying a home in the near future, I would say put a halt on frivolous spending, first of all. Put a halt on all those little things that you feel like you need to have. Because listen, I don't know about you, but in my social media newsfeed, which I'm on Facebook and TikTok most of the time, there's tons of things in our faces about this to buy, this to buy, this to buy, this to buy. If you are thinking about buying a home, all those little things you're not going to even care about in a few months, in a few years. All those little things are not going to matter. So when you're thinking about buying a home, you're preparing, you're planning for the future. And I would say put an absolute halt on all those extras. Do you really need another shirt? Do you really need another pair of shoes? Do you really need to go out and spend $200 tonight or tomorrow night or the next night on food that's going to be gone in 30 minutes, right? Do you really need those things? So preparing for the future. As a buyer, the best thing that you can do is save, stop spending, really rethink about what things are your priority. And so if you plan to buy a home in the near future, and especially if you're young and you're a first-time home buyer, the more you can save, the better you can get your credit score up, which means you're less debt, more income, more savings, less spending. All of that is going to help you get into a house. All of those things are going to help you get into a house. If you are thinking about selling in the near future, and you are one of those people that just never really took care of your yard, you never really took care of your house, you just were too busy with work and all the other things, preparing to sell in the near future, you got to remember, people are going to be passing by your house. They see your house. You want people to feel like you absolutely took care of your house. So if you never did before and you're planning on selling in the next few months, you want to change that persona. You want to keep your yard up. You want to keep your house up. You want it to look like you are preparing to sell your house, ready to hit the market, in such a way that people feel like you absolutely take pride in where you are and what you're selling, so that you can get whatever you need next. It's so important. So preparing for the future by coming up with a plan and a step-by-step plan is going to help you from being so stressed, from so worried, from all the things. So remember, guilt lies in the past. Peace lies in the present. And worry lies in the future. And so if you're worried, let's just say that you are paying rent somewhere and you've been paying rent for a while, and you're worried or you're stressed that you'll be renting forever, then come up with a plan. And if you alone do not even know where to begin, I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you. Remember, I say this every time that I do a video. There are no stupid questions. The only way you're going to learn, the only way you're going to do better is if you ask questions of people who know. So talk to a person. It can be me. It can be someone else that you feel comfortable with. Someone who you know, you like, and you trust, and someone who has done the work. Someone who has closed lots and lots and lots and lots of transactions, have seen pretty much every single scenario there is to see. Listen, I've seen many people buy houses that I thought that there's no way this person has the money to buy a house. And listen, they did. So if you feel like you cannot, I'm telling you, it's possible that you can. And if you feel like your credit score is too low, maybe you're going through a divorce, if you just made some stupid decisions, or maybe you're like me. Listen, when I was in college, I didn't have anybody helping me at all. I lived on credit cards, and I had a job, of course, but I lived on credit cards, and every credit card was maxed out. And way back in college, I could have never qualified to buy a house, right? But once I graduated from college and I got a job, and I little by little started paying down that debt, it took some time, it took some energy, it took a whole lot of motivation, it took really thinking about what are needs and what are wants, right? What are needs and what are wants? If you really want to buy a house, then that is the goal, and everything else needs to go to the wayside. So credit score is important, saving is important, stopping spending is important. I showed a house to a young couple about 6 months ago, and after we were done looking at the house, this is what they said. We're going to Lafayette to go car shopping. That is one of the stupidest, poorest decisions you can make if you are planning to buy a house in the near future. You shouldn't be financing anything. Now, if you have so much money that you have a wad of cash and you can go buy yourself a car with it, you're not the person I'm talking to, and you're an anomaly. But the general average public, if you are looking to buy a house in the near future, you should be financing nothing. And you shouldn't be putting anything on a credit card unless it is an absolute need. Because if buying a house is your goal, then every single thing else just needs to be put on hold for a little while, okay? So if you are thinking about buying a house soon and you're not sure where to start, give somebody a call who you know, like, and trust. If you don't know anyone that could lead you and guide you, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And again, if you're a seller, and especially if you're a seller who is a mess, if you're a seller who just never really cared too much about the way your house and your yard looks, now is the time, if you're thinking about selling in the near future, to recoup that persona that your neighbors have, that everybody has about your house and about your property. Because listen, a lot of the times, especially if you're in the rural areas, the kind of people that are going to be a buyer for you are probably going to be word of mouth from neighbors or from friends or from somebody that says, hey, this house is coming up for sale, this is in a great school zone, this is in a great area, are you interested? But if your house is a mess, if your yard is a mess, you need to get on the ball and get that changed, because you want the highest amount of price possible in the shortest amount of time possible if you're a seller, okay? Guys, enjoy this weekend. It's a Labor Day weekend, so I know a lot of you have off Monday, so I'm so excited for you. If you have off a long weekend and you would like to come and view a beautiful home on almost 2 acres of property in the city limits of Iota, but on the outskirts, it actually feels like you're in the country when you're at this property. I am having an open house tomorrow morning from 10 to noon at 124 McMillan in Iota, Louisiana. So that is tomorrow. I think tomorrow is the 31st. Tomorrow is Saturday, August 31st to September 1st. I don't have a calendar in front of me. But listen, even if this house is not a house that you're interested in at all, but you want to start house hunting soon, or you want to buy a house soon, then come and have a chat with me. Linda will be on site. She's phenomenal. She is great at getting people pre-approved so that you can go house hunting and know your budget ahead of time. Ask all the hard questions. We'll be there from 10 to noon, and we will have food and drinks, and we'll give you a tour. We'll just visit with you and just come. Listen, if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling soon, come and visit with me. I'll give you some to-dos to get started. I'll show you a house that hit the market, ready to sell, ready to go, in perfect condition, and we'll just have a great talk. So tomorrow, 10 to 12, open house in Iota at 124 McMillan. I hope to see you there if you'd like to visit, or if you'd like to look at this place to potentially buy it. It is a great home. You'll have a great weekend. Remember this, there are no stupid questions. If you're a buyer or a seller, ask all the hard questions. Everything you ever wanted to know. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Y'all have a great weekend. Happy Labor Day. Take care.